How are you, Tony? 4th of July. Happy 4th of July.
Oh, happy 4th of July. I'm good. Doing great.
Wow.
Had the 4th of July off, which was nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Then you went back to work on the 5th of July, and now you're off again.
That's right. Yeah. 4-day weeks aren't that bad,
It's not as good as
I wouldn't mind like a Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, off Saturday, Sunday.
That's the Tony dream schedule.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be okay.
Or even better if you worked on Monday and then on Thursday.
That is even better. You know what's even better? You just don't work.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's like watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan!
And I'm Tony.
This is our 200th episode!
The bicentennial,
The bicentennial? I was alive for the bicentennial,
I was alive for this bicentennial, but barely.
We each have our own bicentennial. And on this show, for I think most all of the episodes, except maybe one, we watch a movie and then we harshly critique the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we harsh? I don't know. I think we're fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. What I'll say.
I think I started the podcast with the first choice, and I got the choice of number 200. I'm not sure how that works.
I don't know how math works, but it sounds like we fucked up somewhere along the way.
Well, I think on 100 we didn't pick a movie, so right? In 100, didn't we talk about stuff on 100?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we just kind of hung out and talked. So I guess there's been 2 episodes where we didn't watch a movie because we also did the Summer Hate Madness thing.
Oh.
Technically not watching a movie there.
But we also did a bonus one where we watched that thing about the internet or something. That I
the documentary you made us watch. Yeah. You're right. You know what? There's a good chance that these numbers are meaningless because I'm in charge of them and I don't know what I'm doing.
We're leaving that for history to decide, which episodes are which episodes.
Yeah, the history books will let us know in about 50 years when we look back fondly and artists not appreciated in their time.
The hate-watching archivist will be, oh, no, you don't understand. This is how it went down. There'll be all sorts of debates.
Maybe we'll have a doc just on us.
Just on us.
I'll make it, probably.
Yes, you'll probably have to make it. I'll be involved in an executive producer.
No, actually, like a hands-off
associate producer. I'm an
there
associate.
There you go.
Producer.
Yeah. You're associated with it, but you're not involved with it.
Yes, I just get paid if it makes any money. That's what associate producer means.
Which it will not. So I'm sorry in advance, Dan.
I quit. So yes, we watch a movie this week. I got to pick the movie, and I picked the Garbage Pail Kids movie from 1987, an hour and 37 minutes, not available unless you buy. Is it on it was a DVD. It wasn't a VHS.
I believe, there's a DVD, there is a VHS, and I think there was a 30th anniversary Blu-ray that got released. I'm not totally sure. I couldn't find that anywhere, but I think that exists.
You couldn't find it anywhere?
Couldn't find it, but I'm pretty sure it exists.
So it would have come out in like 2017 or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, that is enough time to disappear from the collective consciousness of the world. If they only make like 4,000 of them, they could just, go right into collectors' hands.
I bet it's worth a lot of money.
This movie was insane.
It's batshit bonkers. Yeah. No, it's Looney Tunes. I had a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people say that it's not so bad that it's good, but I think those people don't understand the world because I enjoyed this a good deal.
As a bad movie, this is a good movie. Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, there are lines galore. There are performances. There are situations you don't understand. There's motivations that make no sense, and there's proclamations that you're like, yeah, that's not true.
That is false in your own universe. Thank you so much.
The kid playing the kid is Sean Astin's brother.
Yep, and John Astin's son.
Yeah, and
which Legend has it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. The mom's someone too. The mom was somebody real.
Oh, I did.
It
Yeah,
was
I guess I didn't look that up.
Donna Reed, I think, of the Donna Reed show.
Okay. So yeah, great family. He's still working, by the way. This guy, they're all still working. Obviously, some more than others. But legend has it that the kid somehow was able to sign the papers, like sign a contract for this movie before the dad, John Astin, got to read the script. And then once he read the script, he's like, you can't do this movie. But then they couldn't get out of it because the kid had signed the papers on his own. The 80s were a wild time. He's 14 years old. He should not be able to enter a binding contract without a legal guardian. But that's cool, man. That's cool.
That's how it is with the Topps company. They know how to do contracts, because they're always having to sign all those baseball legends, to things.
So true.
Can't let those, Mickey Mantle, once you got his signature, you also get the blood out of him.
Drain it for everything. I mean, if you had the signature, though, you'd probably have a lot of money right now, Dan.
You mean this kid's contract on the Garbage Pail Kids movie contract?
No, but I do wish you had that. I wish that you had some physical evidence of this contract. That would be nice. I'd love to read it and just see if because there's also talk between whether or not it was meant to be a made-for-TV movie or a theatrical release. I would love to read the contract to see if it said anything, but it probably didn't.
I did read one thing where they shot it all some sort of certain way, and then they used some sort of video editing situation, an early video editing situation to edit it, and saved a bunch of money that way.
Sure. I mean, they had to save money everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere that they could. $1 million budget. Not going to do it.
This didn't have a $1 million budget.
They had a $1 million budget.
They made this movie for $1 million.
They made this movie for $1 million.
That's incredible.
They wanted to originally make, supposedly, this is all hearsay through like interviews that I've read, but they originally wanted to do it animated or partially animated, like
Roger Rabbit.
What's her name, by the way?
Roger Rabbit. Jessica Rabbit.
The sexy red
Tangerine. Jessica Rabbit?
Not in this movie. Jessica Rabbit. Is that right? Is she the redhead?
Yeah. Kathleen
Great
Turner.
stuff. Anyhow, what was I saying? You got me sidetracked now. Oh, they wanted to they didn't have enough money, so they're like, well, we'll just kind of make it the cheapest way possible, which is just getting these whack ass costumes, throwing them on people, and then going to town. They shot it in a warehouse in California. It's not a sound stage; it's just a literal warehouse. They said it got into triple digit heat, and the tin roof would interfere with the animatronics of the face. So according to some of the people that played these characters, sometimes like eyes would just start rolling and like the faces would do all sorts of things. So they didn't get a lot of the shots because they didn't have enough time to reshoot things, but they couldn't get the reactions they wanted because they were having trouble with the RF interference. Apparently it was just a nightmare. This whole movie is just like a nightmare to shoot.
So you're saying the street scene where most of this takes place with the antique store is inside?
The antique store is inside. Anything on the street, I believe, is the street. But anything indoors is a warehouse.
All soundstage. Sure. That makes sense. Yeah, I wrote down $10 titles. The opening titles I think they spent $10 on. And I believe they spent $5 on the music.
Hold on. Do you not like the music? I mean, first of all, let's not talk about the one random musical number in the movie because that's a different story. But the closing titles, it's like You Could Be a Garbage Pail Too or something like that.
No,
that's a jam.
I'm talking about the incidental music, not the. I mean, there's a number of songs in the movie, most of which are original and most of which are pretty great.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
wanted to make sure. Yeah.
But the music it's like Beverly Hills Cop synth music, but like done by like just a dude. And so at times you expect it to start going into the Beverly Hills Cop music. And
but it doesn't.
It doesn't. Interestingly, they released the new Beverly Hills Cop movie this week.
Yes.
And do you remember Crazy Frog?
Yes, of course. Are you kidding me?
There's a new Crazy Frog song out for the new Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, it's pretty much with the old theme, but he's doing, there's like a video. And so,
All right. I'll have to find that. I did not find that, but I'm going to find it.
Yeah, so I've been playing that for my wife. And for the longest time, the Crazy Frog song was my ringtone on my phone for going on like 10 years or something.
That's amazing. I'm proud of you, Dan. That's the coolest thing you've ever said to me.
It was like, I am sticking with Crazy Frog because it is literally the most horrible thing ever. I love it desperately. I really should change my phone now back to Crazy Frog because, I don't remember when ringtones.
Well, it's cool again.
It is cool. Remember when people used to pay tons of money for ringtones? Tony, people named Tony.
This guy, I probably spent hundreds of dollars on different ringtones because I switched it up like weekly back in the day because it was like a status thing, like if you just had like the normal ringtone of the phone, you're a loser. But if something cool goes off and it was like, oh, what's that one? And you're like, oh, that's mine. Flip open my phone. What's up? But I spent too much money. Right. And it was me.
Other quick pre-Garbage Pail Kid movie stuff. When I was in art school in college, we did a thing at the beach, and I went to the beach, and I think this is what happened. I found a Garbage Pail Kid sticker on the ground, and I was like, what the hell is this? And and I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. I don't know what this is, and it was like this it was the bony character, so it was a little skeleton character, and I was like,
okay, sure,
this is so unusual to me. And that is right when I started getting back into collecting, and this led me back into collecting along the same axis as my art career, and pretty much is everything I do now, not everything, but I mean, it was a serious catalyst to my artistic and collecting career.
So thank you, Garbage Pail Kids.
Thank you, Garbage Pail Kids.
And did you collect cards then? Did you start collecting them?
I bought some, but I didn't really like them. They weren't really my thing. I didn't get into them.
You were probably too old already.
I was too old to really get into it. And I mean, I wish I had, because I would have, saved everything and had boxes, and it would have been all worth a fortune because they're all very valuable now.
They are. Yes, they are. Especially if you get what are they foil now or something? Like there's like a lot, something on them was like crazy expensive. But yeah, you could have been rich, Dan.
Could have been rich. Could have been somebody. So, Garbage Pail Kids movie.
Been a contender.
Anything else before we start talking about this?
I want to read a direct quote from the director. And R.I.P. Okay. I think he passed in like 2003 or something like that. So this is not, I'm not disparaging him. It's just the wildest thing I've ever read in an interview before.
This was his last movie.
Oh, well, I get it. So basically, a little precursor, he didn't really care about this movie. He didn't really know anything about the Garbage Pail Kids, and Topps apparently didn't care. They were just like, just do your thing, just get it out, it'll make money, essentially. But they were talking about how to do the movie. And this is a quote. This is a direct quote for him. We did the economic expedient. And let me rephrase. He's going to use words that I don't use. Okay. So this is just a direct quote. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying this. The director said this in an interview. We did the economic expedient. We got dwarves. There's plenty of them. We got dwarves and put heads on them and found out how long they could survive in there without breathing. And it turned out to be about 5 to 7 minutes. So you had to rehearse everything with the heads off, put the heads on, have a paramedic with a stopwatch. Little sons of bitches go in there and you say action and you shoot until they can't breathe. That is a direct quote from the director of this movie. It is wild.
This is back when the world was real. It's so terrible.
I read that last night and I stopped breathing. I couldn't stop laughing. It was about 5 minutes. I could not collect myself. I love this guy. I love him.
Now, did you catch the special celebrity appearance in the movie?
I'm sure that I didn't. Who's the celebrity?
Peter Dinklage.
No, who's he play?
He doesn't play anyone. He plays one of the people in the cages at the end that they let out.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, the cage. Oh, I can't wait to talk about those cages, by the way.
Yeah. So Peter Dinklage I read somewhere that somebody said that it was him. He wasn't in the credits or anything. Or maybe it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, just as an actor, you might not.
It's pretty interesting that in a movie full of dwarves, he just appears as in a movie using a lot of dwarves and little people, or little people. I think we're supposed to say little people now.
Yes. Yeah.
He's in there just as an actor.
I wonder, do you remember what his cage said? Because all the cages have a little thing on it.
I only saw it as they pulled him out of the cage, and you couldn't see the sign. Right. And I was like, good God, that's Peter Dinklage. Then looked it up, and somebody else said that was him. So I'm like, wow. I'm running with it.
I'm going. I don't care. I did enough fact checking.
So maybe he was friends with some of the other people working in the movie, and just got him on the set for a day.
Well, I mean, I think a bunch of people that played these insane characters went on to do other stuff. Like I think one of the ladies was in Willow. Oh, I don't know. They went on to work on other stuff. Nobody died, so that's great news.
Nobody died in the making of this movie. Otherwise, we'd be talking about it in a much more reverent tone.
Sure.
The other star of the movie is Anthony Newley, who I love to death because he was one of the principals in the Dr. Dolittle movie from like my childhood.
Not the Eddie Murphy, then. Okay.
Not the Eddie Murphy.
So the one that I never saw.
It's I think it's 67 or 69. All
right, sure. And that one is a musical?
Oh, it's a full musical. Okay. I had the record when I was a kid.
Beautiful.
And that was one of those records I would just play and be like, say how would you do the world to Dr. Dolittle? And sing about the push me pull you and all that. And I just loved it to death.
All right. Well, that's great. I love that.
And so he's just particularly terrible and not terrible, but just
so he has acted before.
He has acted before.
Okay. Yes. It's not an indictment. I'm just curious because obviously, again, the vibe of this is very made for TV, afternoon special type of deal,
I think he's one of those guys that probably did a lot of, dinner theater and whatnot, and didn't really have.
Yeah, he's got a nice voice. You know?
Anything else to say about the movie before we start really digging in deep?
I feel like everything else we'll cover throughout. I don't want to. I mean, we've already done. This is 15 minutes. We're wasting a lot of time here.
We start the movie with the credits, and we have the car. There's a garbage pail can flying through space, which has nothing to do with how the garbage pail kids get there. And we do.
Are you sure?
I mean, maybe they came from space, and then they got trapped in a can by magic. He said it was a Pandora's box.
I don't know the answer. Yeah, I don't know the answer, but there's a garbage pail in space, and then I'm pretty sure that's the same garbage pail that's where they're kept in his thing. So I think they might have come down from space. But also, are they cards in the can? Because the cards fly out.
Oh,
little. So like, I was curious if they start as cards and somehow transform into these things, or if that's just the credits of being like, these are the ones we're using. I don't know.
That's a question that we're going to have to save for the screenwriter if he ever wants to come on the show.
He doesn't. I'll tell you that right now.
Included in some of these, we have Valerie Vomit, Foul Phil, Windy Winston, Nat Nerd, Alligator, Greaser Greg, and Messy Tessie. Maybe I didn't get the baby. Oh, maybe Foul Phil is the baby one. I don't know. Who's the baby one?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't pay much attention to the names.
Yeah, they're hideous.
Now, yes, full stop. They are atrocious. They're not good to look at all. But the cards are also like gross. Isn't that their thing? So
very accurate representation of the cards. The masks.
Yeah, it's a hard task.
Suitable.
But you would theoretically want to cute them up a little if you're making a movie. I would think, because the whole movie, I want to close my eyes because it's all so ugly.
They look like the cards, but they also look like the cards made out of clay. And just so gross. I mean, they're just just incredibly unappealing things.
They are super ugly. One thing I want to say, they only made one head for each character.
Got it.
So there was no replacing a head. It's the same head every time, which has got to get gross real quick. And I don't remember the story, but there's a story where they used some sort of paint that solidified, and the first time they used each one, the mouth opened and it cracked along the mouth, kind of like the Joker. So if you look closely, a lot of them look like they have like little like seams right here, and that's because they tore open.
Yeah, at a certain point, the masks, they'd barely even be talking, and they would just loop in all the voices. Everything just was in this sort of echo chamber of sound. You're like, it was it was interesting.
Apparently, they're pretty loud. The masks were, because all of the gears inside, so they couldn't. The actors inside had a hard time hearing what was going on around them.
Now, did the person who put on the head actually get to do the voice too?
I believe no, because the Roger Rabbit guy is in this as one of the voices. He voices the nerd and somebody else as well. So I don't believe that they got to do any of the voices.
Oh, so probably a couple of people did all the voices. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we were introduced to the antique store, which is just called the antique store. We see the trash can, some slime pours out of it, and the Garbage Pail Kids escape from this trash can. Like, they could never fit in there as their full sizes, so there's magic involved.
But there's magic involved all over the place, because this guy's a wizard.
Yes, well, we'll get to that.
Will we?
So they escape, and they're like, turn off the lights and turn on the fans, and it's all very strange. And then out comes Captain Manzini, who's Anthony Newley, and I guess he gets them back in the trash can somehow.
Well, what's weird is they just kind of go back in themselves, as far as I can tell. Okay. And then he just puts something on the lid to make sure they don't get back out.
He puts a big metal helmet on top of the lid to kind of keep them in there.
Because, locking them up because they're ugly? Is that the moral of this movie?
Well, you're locking them up because the world is not ready for their ugliness, and the world treats the ugliness badly.
And we are familiar with that story, right? I mean, that's the same story for the Ninja Turtles, let's say, right? Like Shredder or Splinter's big thing is like, you can't go to the surface because humans won't understand and they'll vilify you. And the turtle's like, no, we can do it. So I understand the story, but what we don't usually do is lock them in a tiny cage and tell them they can't come out ever. I feel like that's a whole new level.
Yes. Well, we're to find out later that some of them got out and were killed.
And are just I don't know.
Killed. They were killed. Or killed, so it's probably best if you don't go out because the real world will kill them.
Just murder you. They'll just murder you.
It's
very weird.
Santa Claus and the Garbage Pail Kids will end up murdered.
Don't bring up Santa yet. We gotta get to Santa Claus.
So we meet our hero Dodger, which I guess is named after the Artful Dodger from whatchamacallit, the Fagin and all that stuff. That story old as time. Fagin and Dodger.
Fagin and
Oliver,
all that stuff.
Oliver, that's what it is.
Like Oliver Twist?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
The story of Oliver Twist is he's like an orphan. He ends up with the criminal orphans, and his best friend is the Artful Dodger, who's like this one kid who's like the master criminal child. So he is fleeing. Great. He is fleeing from Juice and Tangerine, and his Juice's two henchmen who perhaps have names. I don't know. One of them's a dude, and one of them's a very
I don't think so.
muscular woman, and they want his money, and Juice gets some good.
I guess.
Yes, he wants some money. That's what he says. He wants the money.
I mean, I know, but it's a weird. If you're only going for money, everything else that happens is pretty weird.
Yes, and Juice is like Miami Vice cool.
And with just a gallon of eyeliner on, he's got so much makeup on for a bully. It was very distracting to me. But he's pretty. you know, I think in the 80s kind of way.
Feathered hair. Tangerine
Oh yeah.
is frizzy hair, super hot, 94 pounds.
Okay, this is a great time to talk about her and Dodger, right?
Yeah.
So she's 16
She's not 16
when this movie's taking place.
She can drive.
She's six. She, the actor, is 16 years old.
She's 16 years old in this movie?
She is 16 years old. Aston is 14 years old. Right? And a lot of people, when this had come out, I mean, not a lot of people, the 4 people that saw it, like probably 2 or 3 of them were like, oh, this is a weird relationship because this movie is all about like him liking her.
Yes.
But what's interesting, because when I watched it, I felt the same thing. I was like, well, she's like 20 and this kid's like 12 and it's weird. But here's the fun part about it, Dan, is Aston had been cast in the movie. And the director was like, hey, do you know any actresses that are like 16 that we could hire? And Aston goes, yes, my girlfriend is an actor. And they hired her and they are dating. This is literally his girlfriend. And then they break up in the middle of filming this movie because apparently he had a wandering eye. And all of that is just shocking to me. Every part of that surprises me.
His eye wandered away from this girl?
This is what I'm saying. It's so bizarre.
I mean, she's very attractive.
Still is. She goes on to be a huge telenovela star in Mexico.
So she was huge there. Okay.
She was huge. Hundreds and hundreds of episodes of stuff. Yeah. Amazing work. Good for her.
I know a couple of guys, they're twins, and they were telenovela stars.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Did they switch off of the same role? Like one week one guy would do it, the other week the other one did it, or did they have separate roles?
I don't remember. I talked to him about it a little bit, but yeah,
okay.
They were telenovela stars down there, and then
in my head they are one character. Dan, I just want you to know that in my head they're one character, and casting doesn't even know that they're twins. Yeah. They're just lazier than most actors, so they each wanted half a role.
But I think he said it was a pretty cutthroat business, as I remember it.
I believe that.
And
yeah,
they want you young and beautiful, and I think unless you're the lucky few that transition into being like the older characters, they kind of hit the road,
kill you off.
Juice gets some good lines. Little baby gonna cry. Juice is mine. They take his money. And they kick him in the mud, and then there's sad music as they walk away from him as they take his money.
And this is the beginning of where I was like, okay, this is definitely a made-for-TV movie. Like this screams after-school special without a message. There's no message to the movie. There's a moment where we almost get a message, and then they immediately toss it away.
Sure. So it turns out he works in the antique store. And
now, can he work, Dan? I know this is the 80s, but
it's the 80s.
Can 14-year-olds have a job? I thought 15 was...
You could work, and I think they could pay you a small amount of money, but you could only work a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't know anything.
Back then, you could pay kids to work. But you couldn't, you couldn't have them work in the mills anymore. You just had to give them like nicer jobs. And he's just cleaning up and whatnot. It's not like he's
I get it.
Filing a W-2 or anything.
W-2, a 1099. Those are the only 2 forms I know.
I still remember the day I went and got my Social Security card. Good story.
Wait, you had to go get a Social Security card? They don't just give it to you when you're born?
They don't give you a Social Security card when you're born.
When did I get mine? I'm not trying to be funny, Dan.
You don't remember when you got your Social Security card?
I don't think that I did it. I
wouldn't be surprised if your parents got you one.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm Tony. I'm a baby. Give me my Social Security card.
I'm a little baby. I can't do it. Yeah. I just don't remember doing it. I thought that's just something to hand out to babies when they're born, and then you have to hold on to it for your whole life.
I went to some weird office that was near the bowling alley, and it was up in this building, and they gave gave me the
I
social
think you
security
have a
card.
stolen security. Okay, I don't think this
It's
is
not
real.
real. It's not a real one. That's true. They charged me $1,000. So
Okay, well, you might have gotten swindled.
it's worked so far.
That's all that matters.
He works at the antique store. Captain Manzini, Anthony Newley works there, and he is a magician. He uses no. He is a magician.
Is he a magician or is he a wizard? Because he does real magic.
We'll call him a wizard. Because you're saying a magician is someone that pulls rabbits out of the hat and it's fake. He's a wizard.
Hold on. I'm not trying to belittle magicians. It sounded like he pulls it out of a hat and he's fake. I just, the magic is an art, right? But it is different than doing real magic, right?
I suppose
I don't know. Harrison can get on here and yell at me about it. Maybe I don't know.
I guess a magician is a stage magician, and a wizard is a person that actually performs.
Or like a warlock. Maybe he's a warlock.
He's a magician. He's a wizard. Fine, but
we'll go with magician. It's fine.
He does magic to clean the kids' clothes, and he talks about. He's left mankind to retire in memory.
Yeah. So is he like hundreds of years old?
We don't know.
Because that's kind of the vibe I got was he for a long time I tried, but I just gave up and now I've retired here.
Well, it's getting harder to do magic because the components that are necessary
are harder to find apparently.
Eye of Newt is no longer available at the corner store.
At the local Ralph's. Sure.
At the CVS. So then he gives an explanation about the trash can, and he's like, it's basically like Pandora's box. There's things locked in it that are best not being released. Okay.
Sure. I wish just a little bit that I had an origin of what they are.
They're not going to tell us that.
No, you can't explain. I thought maybe because I honestly, Garbage Pail Kids is not something that I participated in growing up. That fad totally missed me. So I was wondering if there is like a lore. Is there a lore to the Garbage Pail Kids that I don't know about? No,
they're just
okay.
they're a parody of they're a parody of the Cabbage Patch Kids, and that's all they are.
I know that. Yeah. Okay. I just thought maybe they fleshed out some sort of origin, like what are these things? But all right, let's keep moving.
No, I think the cards are just like
no. What's the green ooze then? Who chose to have green ooze in the can?
Oh, because of Ghostbusters and whatnot.
Ghostbusters and whatnot. Other movies. It's fine.
Yeah,
all right.
That's
cool.
The only reason there's ooze is because of other movies. That's why
Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze.
Secret of the. Okay, so Tangerine is looking in the store. She goes in there. Dodger smells her hair like a creep. He gives her a gift, and he's like hitting on her. And then in comes Juice and his boys.
Juice.
And they teach him a lesson. And the can falls down. They take the kid, they put him in the sewer, and then they pour sewage on him. And then the Garbage Pail Kids escape from the pail, come down there and save him, take him back up to the antique store, render first aid, and then fart on him.
Yeah. I don't understand any of it.
What did you understand?
I
just laid out all the things that happened.
One, I don't understand, just going back to the beginning, how did they get the sewer cap off? Those are heavy.
Well, I mean, the Garbage Pail Kids can kind of do anything, can't they?
They're not the garbage. I'm talking about Juice. Juice and his friends. They don't have a crowbar. How are they getting the sewer cap off?
Didn't they show? They showed him pulling it open, didn't they?
Right, so easily. Like he just slides it right off. I've tried. Those are heavy. Okay, regardless, that's fine, Dan. You want to just suspend disbelief? That's fine. Why did they locked him to like a pipe, right?
It's a matter of principle, they said, because he was hitting on his girl.
Okay. I don't. It's so then why do the Garbage Pail Kids come rescue him?
Hold on a second. Time out. Well, because he's one of theirs.
He's one of theirs.
Did you never do anything to protect your girlfriend from unwanted advances in high school, Tony?
No. Although I will tell a story about a kid that was hit on my sister in a derogatory way. And then I grabbed him by the neck, threw him against a locker, and I picked him up with one fucking hand. And I held him there. And then he started crying. And then I let him go and he ran away. He left my sister alone.
Did you get in trouble for that?
I didn't. He didn't tell on me. So, like, you got to respect that. You know what I mean?
What would you have done if he told on you?
No, I would just have told the truth. I don't care. But, like, yeah, he said something bad about my sister. So I taught him a lesson. Big deal. Suspend me. Oh, no. I don't learn anything here anyhow.
Did you ever get suspended, Tony?
No, I was a guy with a bit of a kiss ass. You know what I mean?
So
like I was the kid that I talked a lot and I made a lot of jokes, but I also sucked up a lot. So that there's that balance of the teacher kind of hates you, but kind of likes you. That's the balance you have to have in life. So you can fuck around, but you're also, you ingratiate yourself to them.
Oh man, you're such a non-genuine personality.
I would say that hurts, Dan, but you're not totally wrong.
He's like, "What are you?" Then they just run rampant. Then Manzini comes back, and he's like, "Oh, you let them out." And he's like, "Okay, you gotta get back in the pail. But before they get back in the pail, why don't you meet them?" And then he kind of introduces them.
It doesn't make any sense. For a guy that desperately wants them to put away, he also doesn't care ever.
And then one of them urinates on themselves, right? That's
a bunch of times. Yeah, there's one. Is it the nerd, natty nerd, or whatever? Just pees all the time. And they use it as a joke. I don't get it.
It's weird.
I don't get it.
And Valerie does not vomit. I'm like, wow.
No, but she fakes vomit. She does she retches and then nothing. So maybe that name is misleading.
No, it's not. They pay that off at the end of the movie. But everyone else does their things except Valerie
all
vomit.
The time.
Yes. Yeah. She's like, wait for it.
No, I'm going to give it to you.
Okay, so then this is Tony's favorite part of the whole movie. They give Dodger a bath in the middle of the antique store where he's naked and everyone's watching.
And not only that, but so this old man who you love, I don't know his name, Dodger comes back and he's covered in like dirt and he's been beat up. And the guy is like, "Well, we should clean you up, kid. Take off your clothes and let me wipe you down." It's a weird thing. He should go home. Why doesn't Dodger go home to take a bath?
I think this is his home, isn't it?
Do you think he lives here?
I don't know. Did we ever see anything else from Dodger?
I guess not, but where are his parents? Because Mr. Manzini or whatever is not his parent.
I think he sleeps in the trash outside of Tangerine's home so that he can watch her constantly.
So he can, he's a bit of a creep. He looks in her window a bunch.
Now I'm going to ask you a question, Tony.
Okay, yeah, please.
Did you realize that Tangerine's home is right next to the antique store?
Not for about an hour. Okay, there's one moment where he comes out of the door and walks to her door, and then you're like, oh, spatially that makes no sense to me, but I love it.
So he and a number of times he peeps through her window.
Yeah.
And doesn't get to see anything great, but he can see something great later, but
Yep.
It's
weird. It's all weird.
Okay, the next day, Tangerine is packing up. I'm like, oh, she's leaving Juice. And he's peeping on her, and then she comes out, and she's all like, oh, I'm not leaving him. She doesn't actually say that, but she's not leaving him.
No, but you realized it.
She's going to the dance clubs to sell her clothes, because she's a clothing designer.
Right, okay? Which is great.
Other than the fact that she's going to be a fashion designer. What?
I said that it doesn't matter.
Who's a child?
It's just weird. Children. It's all weird.
It's all weird. So they go.
That's what I'm saying. She's a fashion designer selling her own clothes. She's 16, maybe 17 for this movie. I can't tell because she is driving, which is weird.
Yeah.
But she's a child. Why is she selling? When does she make these clothes, Dan? Do these people go to school? Do any of these children go to school?
Maybe it's a spring break or summer break. Maybe
summer. I don't know.
It's
weird.
It is interesting when you set up these child dynamics and you don't reference anything like, you're just like, don't worry about the parents. Don't worry about school. Don't worry about...
They're just running around.
Who pays the rent, how they pay the rent. It's just like, things just happen.
Yeah. I
So
don't know.
she pulls out the clothes. Everyone in the club runs out and starts buying everything. One girl's a total bitch. At a certain point, she sells her own shirt.
Her own top.
And
Yep.
she takes it off, and Dodger recoils from the sight of her
Yeah.
sexuality. It was a very interesting scene. He's just like recoiling from sexuality.
Yeah. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird. Like here's what's I don't disagree with the action of that. Like
Sure.
he's a young boy and he's probably not seen. I mean, it's not 2024 where porn is available everywhere, right? This is probably the closest he's gotten to see
Sure.
a pair of boobies. So he's nervous. He's definitely got an erection. He's hiding, right? I understand all that, but why is that in the movie? That's why my question. Why are we even doing that? There's no reason. She could just sell clothes and he could just admire her for her business prowess. You know, that's a reason to like somebody.
I believe she also sells her skirt and then has to put on another dress.
I
when they
believe
drive
that
home.
you are correct. Yeah, she just sells the entire. I don't get it.
But we don't get to see her taking that off and him reacting to even more of her level of undress.
Because he would probably die. He probably closed his eyes.
Any of us would probably die on that. The Garbage Pail Kids are looking for food. They steal a truck full of Coke. They run over a van and flatten it like a pancake.
Which doesn't make any sense.
And then they all convene for a feast in the alley around a burning, not a 50-gallon drum.
Now, Dan, this brings up my biggest question of the whole movie.
This brings up your biggest question of the whole movie.
How are we? How is the audience supposed to feel about the Garbage Pail Kids? I genuinely don't know if I'm supposed to like them, hate them. How am I supposed to? What do they want me to feel about them?
Well, the question you're really asking is, who is this movie made for?
Sure. Yeah, 100%.
This movie should be made for teens, right?
Yeah.
And so the teens, really for 12 to 16-year-olds who are like, it's so gross. It's awesome. This is so cool. I love this.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. Look at them. They're farting on each other. That's who this movie is made for. But because that's who the stickers are made for.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that would make sense. But I don't know. Because they're not good guys, right?
Nope.
But they're not also like evil.
Nope.
They're just kind of shitbirds,
They're
just like top to bottom.
They're just weird fucking things that are doing weird shit in the world.
And I don't want to hang out with them.
Nope.
I think that's my biggest problem. Because as a kid, I should want to hang out with them so that I want to buy your stuff. Because there's no reason to make this movie if you're not trying to sell more merch, right? Like the whole idea is get the brand out there, make the kids want to buy more cards. But I don't.
You make a good point. They picked the most horror. I mean, alligator is pretty cool, except the cannibalism part. Except the wanting to eat
I still
humans.
think that's cool. I think that's funny.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it's not funny, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You don't know if you want to hang out with a friend who, if you fell asleep, would
might eat you,
eat parts of you. Right, who has a lunchbox full of human eyes and fingers
that he snacks on. It's not just he's keeping it. This is I ate the rest of them already, so these are the leftovers. It's pretty fucking weird.
Continuous snacking. So there was no modulation. There wasn't like there wasn't like a couple of Garbage Pail Kids that you were sympathetic to. They were all just like, these are things that you wouldn't have any problem if they were locked back in a trash can. You wouldn't think, I got to get those guys out because they need to live fuller lives.
No, they do not. They should burn.
They're just monstrous agents of chaos.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have the feast. Then they go back. They've ate too much, and then they made some hot threads for the kid. because they know.
Wait,
the kid,
hold on.
Yeah.
I just want to. This is one of my favorite moments of the movie. Favorite lines of the movie.
Oh, okay.
After they ate, someone's like, "My tummy hurts. I ate too much," and they're like, "What did you eat?" Everything. That'll do it. Hilarious. I don't like if there's more silly things like that in the dialogue. I think I would love it because that was stupid, but it made me chuckle, and I did not chuckle in the right way very much for this movie.
Because all the lines of the Garbage Pail Kids are ADR'd in there, they just come at a million miles an hour.
And they feel so disconnected to each other. There's no like, and obviously they are because they're all doing it at a different time, I assume. It's not like they're all in one room doing lines back and forth, right? They call you in, you do it for 2 hours, you're done. Next person comes in. So there's just you can never get a flow of like it feeling like it's in one area coalescing.
It's like an ADR line. It's just thrown in there to sort of mean something. And ADR lines have a tendency to just take you out of the reality of the movie.
It's so hard to do them well.
Now, have you seen these new AI fake movie posters where they're like, "This is coming soon," and it's like the real stars and they make the fake poster?
I haven't, but I believe it. I've seen some like of the AI trailers that people have made.
Because there was like one for like Anna de Armas's new, whatever her her John Wick, and it's like I'm like, wait, what? When that? I think they're making that movie, but like they're making
but
like these fake movie posters, and you're like, wait, is that written? You're like, oh no, it's stupid AI garbage.
Yeah, people are using AI wrong. A big surprise. Humans are the worst. Well, they're the second worst. Garbage Pail Kids are worse.
So they've made him this jacket.
And the jacket is ugly. Continue.
Juice is at Tangerines. Then he leaves. And then she shows up wearing the jacket. And she's all like, oh my God, this is the greatest jacket ever. It's like this really shitty looking fake Michael Jackson-y kind of jacket.
It's so ugly. It's so cheap and so bad.
It's so terrible. And then she's all like, I need these. Make me 12 by Friday. And he's all like, see you. And she's like, see you Friday. And then kicks him back out. She maybe makes a little bit of move on him to,
she's playing him hard. Real hard.
And every time she plays him, you're just like, she would have complete control over my existence if she did that.
100%. You don't, what's nice about it, I don't know, is you buy it. In a movie that makes 0 sense top to bottom, this relationship, you're like, yeah, no, that would work. That would totally work 100%. This kid would do anything.
Her manipulations are very effective. She sells her manipulations, and you're like, this is a girl that could get anything she wanted in the world.
That's why she goes on to telenovelas. I haven't seen any, but she probably plays similar characters where she's manipulating people and getting her way.
So he goes back, wakes up the Garbage Pail Kids, and then they're all like, of course. They're like, we can't do that. We only have one machine. And then they're like, we'll come up with a plan to do it anyways. And then
then what is the plan?
They just do it.
They just sing a song.
They sing a
song.
We can only.
And the song is, we can do anything if we do it together or something like that?
We can do anything by working with each other. So
right. As opposed to the part where they're like, we only have one machine, so we can't do this. However, if we work together, it's fine. That doesn't make any sense.
So then as they finish the things very easily, perfectly on time, and then they find a television. And then they hide the television from Dodger for some reason, for no reason.
No reason. There's
no
reason.
It doesn't work, and then the one snots all over it.
Because she says they have to stick it together or something, she said. I don't know. But it's so much snot. It's gross.
It's most of this movie makes sense. The TV didn't make any sense because
it's not a part of the story.
Yeah, if the TV was going to distract them from their work and Dodger got mad at them, I'd be like, okay, that's a thing you could do, but they don't do anything like that.
They don't do anything. Also, she says that it works. She's like, it works now, but do we see it working?
No, it doesn't work.
Okay, I didn't think so. All right, just making sure.
So they go out.
Maybe I missed something huge.
So since they don't have the television, they're like, let's go out and do things. couple of them, most of them go to the movie theater where the Three Stooges are playing, and they eat people's hot dogs, and they molest the women, and they are generally horrible.
Awful.
They cough popcorn on everybody. They just do all these terrible things until everybody has to leave. Then the other two, they have like these little quads that they ride on, and then there's also like a pen on the back of the quads.
Which are so cool, by the way. The little ATVs are the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That's like Tony's childhood dream.
That would have been amazing. Are you kidding me? To zip around town on one of those at like 8 to 10 years old? That would have been a terror. That would have been amazing.
I always looked at the little ride your own vehicles in the Sears catalog,
like the little cars, the little electric car. Yeah, man, all that was. It would have been so cool.
And then the other ones end up at the biker bar where Allie tries to bite a guy's feet off, and then
Dan,
Wendy farts all over them, and then he uses kung fu, and then one of them's like, he's got drinks for everyone, and those two get drunk.
Right. What? Because they're children. The whole point is they're children.
Are they children?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but I can tell you that they're small, and I can tell you that they look like children-ish. They don't have IDs. I'm not saying that they have to check IDs in the 80s, but it's weird.
Perhaps.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we're back. Maybe they're thousands of years old.
Maybe, but they don't have IDs that would prove it. Like you don't look at them and are like, yeah, you could drink. Come on in. It's weird that they went to a bar.
You need to ask them when they got their social security cards.
Also, Dan, people aren't going to know what that is in reference to. I'm not putting that in the beginning of the show. Dodger goes into the bar at some point too. I don't think it's this one. It's the second one later.
Later he goes into the bar.
But also, like, he can't just walk into a bar. He can't do it.
I mean, a biker bar. There's probably not a guy that's checking IDs at a biker bar.
You don't think there's a bouncer? I don't know. I've seen Roadhouse, so I know that they exist.
There's some bars you can walk into, and then they'll just card you at the bar.
I guess, maybe. I don't know.
You're thinking of like clubs. There's clubs that are.
That's true. There'll be a line. You got to get a stamp.
I can only think of clubs that restrict the access of people that are too young.
Okay. All right.
I can't think of a bar because you can just walk in.
Well, did you not see Roadhouse? Because that's what they do, Dan. That's literally the plot of the movie. They stand at the door. They let people in.
I haven't seen.
There's the chubby guy.
Either one. Can I have some water? Because you're disappointed in my lack of Roadhouse knowledge. I'm drinking water now because I'm disappointed.
I'm a little disappointed because we did watch Roadhouse for this show.
No, we didn't.
We watched the new one.
No, we didn't.
With Jake Gyllenhaal, didn't we?
We didn't do that.
Did we not do that? We should have done that.
You watched you watched it and thought we did it for the show. We didn't.
I watched it on my own accord?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never seen either one because I want to see it.
We probably should have done it.
You probably just watched it because you were like, he looks so jacked up in the ads.
You're right about that. Well, and I love the original.
Oh,
I can't believe that we did. I thought for sure we did that for this show.
Okay. So back at the antique store, Juice sees them. Captain Manzini yells at Alligator and is like, since you're the leader, you got to be good, and makes Allie take an oath. Did you think Allie was the leader?
No, I've never thought that, not even for a second. He never does anything that's leader-like.
Yeah.
And is this the part where he says, what do you expect from a talking alligator or something like that?
Probably, yeah.
Which is confusing. Is he an alligator? I don't know what they are, Dan.
Tony wants an explanation of their taxonomy. Where do you fit in the natural history of the world? Okay, then we get a Garbage Pail Kids song, and I wrote, while they prank people with sewer water. They're down in the sewer, and there's like these different things, and they keep on turning the things, because we saw that earlier when they were in the sewer. They're like, we're going to get two uses out of this sewer set. And they squirt one weird. Guy, and then something happens in a jacuzzi or something.
Well, the jets turn into sewage water, so it's just shooting brown water into the jets. Here's my biggest problem with that scene, is the people in the hot tub, all that happens is this. This is an exact recreation. Oh, no. Oh, yes. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, the woman says, "Oh yes," as like I'm assuming they mean like I understand. Oh yes, we need to go. They don't even leave. They don't even get out of the hot tub. I don't understand this movie at all.
Maybe she's sexually excited by sewer water.
Oh.
I mean,
Sorry, I shouldn't judge people. I apologize.
I think Ike Turner liked to. I think he. Am I making this up? Am I imagining?
I
this?
don't know. Maybe
He liked to video. He like put down a piece of plexiglass. This might not be right, but put down a piece of plexiglass and then put a video camera on it. Then he pooped on it.
no one has ever done that in the history of the world. I don't want to hear that. That's not true, Dan. You're making this up. Oh, that's horrible. That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
We're doing the Garbage Pail Kids, so we got to go there, man. Okay, Captain Mazzini's still trying to find the spell to drive them back into the can.
Dan, didn't he write the spell? I don't understand.
He's trying to. He knows the spell, but he doesn't have the materials, so he's trying to write a new spell that's going to work.
But it's just music. He says the music will work. That doesn't make any sense. That's not a thing.
He has a book that says spells.
So if he's got a book, then everything makes sense.
Okay, so Dodger is girl obsessed. He's worried about the Garbage Pail Kids because he finds out that their friends are locked up in the state home for the ugly.
Uh-huh.
So there was an earlier group of Garbage Pail Kids that escaped and had been locked up in this home.
This is the part where I don't understand what the movie's trying to say to me. Why is there a place where ugly people get arrested and then are sent? Doesn't it say they execute them? Well, I swear at one point they're going to get executed. Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that you can't do that. You can't just kill ugly people.
You can in this movie.
It's bizarre. It's weird. In a movie that doesn't make a lot of sense. This is the weirdest thing that they do.
You are correct. This is the weirdest thing in this whole movie. So then Captain and Dodger are going to go find it. They see a truck that has a sticker on the side. They hitch a ride. They're like, we're going to wait until dark. But Dodger's like, no, this is the Friday. So he goes back, takes the clothes, takes them with Tangerine. They go to the club again. They sell them all during a song.
One song, from what I could tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Great job.
They do really well. And then afterwards, Tangerine's like, I've got big plans for us. Then she goes in and makes out with his ear.
Yes.
To be young again.
I'll do it right now if you want, Dan. Get over here. Get that lobe over here. All right?
It was like...
yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Because that's the one thing about this movie. You can kind of put your kid... I can kind of put myself in that kid's place. You know?
For sure. 100%.
And you're like, wow.
That's why the Garbage Pail Kids of it makes no sense, because you want to be that kid. The whole point of this movie is watching it. I should want to be that kid. When it's their scenes, I definitely want to be that kid. When the Garbage Pail Kids are around, I'm like, why am I hanging out with these guys? These guys suck. These are the worst guys ever. So you have to figure out how to make me want to be with them, even though they're disgusting, because they should be fun. Disgusting is fun. We love it. Dan still loves fart jokes. You love fart jokes. Not in this movie.
They're the only jokes that matter.
So they got to figure out a way to make me like it. It's dumb.
Yeah, it's interesting in a movie that can evoke that aspect of youth so well that the second aspect of youth, and she's gonna she's gonna screw him over because they don't, she says stuff and you're like,
you sure do.
He's not in
it, and you're excited.
Okay. She gives the money to Juice. Whenever after any scene with the two of them, then Juice just shows up and she I love you, Juice.
Why is she giving the money to him though? Is she not keeping any of the profits?
It's just they're just showing that he's in complete control of the relationship.
I guess. Yeah.
This is the point at which we realize Tangerine lives right next door to the antique store.
Right.
And then she meets the Garbage Pail Kids, and she's all like, she is very derisive of them, like through the rest of the movie. She never gets on board with the Garbage Pail Kids,
as you would, because they're the worst.
And now we learn that she's set up a fashion show at the Bundy's department store, and so she needs the clothes.
How would she do that?
I guess she talked to the lady that's
I
in
know.
charge of the fashion.
It's a question that doesn't have an answer. I just don't like it. It's just plots.
This movie has a plot that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
What are you going to have the Garbage Pail Kids do? Make clothes.
Make clothes. Why? Based on what? Where does that come from when I look at the cards? When I look at the cards, I don't think, I bet they'd make some great outfits. I don't understand how this, who wrote this movie?
It's pretty funny. She makes out with Juice. The Garbage Pail Kids are not going to give help until you help your friends. Oh, so they're all like, we're not going to make the clothes until you help us help our friends, free our friends from the police. So he's all like, okay, we're working on a plan. Okay. I wrote back to home. Oh, so we go back to the home. Manzini tries to get in, and he tries to sneak in, and then they catch him, and then they're like, no visitors, and then they have to flee.
Yes. Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
The Garbage Pail Kids are having a dance party at the store, not surprisingly.
Not surprisingly. Okay.
You gotta feel, they're like, we need a transition. What are they doing to transition back up? They're having a dance party.
Just dancing. Just have them dance. I don't know. Don't have them talk. It's too hard.
Easier, just overhead shot. Dancing. Put on some music. How much? We just got to buy a song. Song costs a couple $1,000. Done.
Maybe even less back then. I don't know.
So Tangerine shows up again, and they're like, "Let us be models in your show," and she's all like, "You're too damn ugly." And then they're all like, we want to go. And so they're going to do costumes again. Oh, the last time they left, they all put on trench coats and this. And then to go to the fashion show, they dress up like clowns.
Yep. Because that's what people want at fashion shows.
So she locks them up so that they're not going to be able to ruin the thing. And she bolts the door, and then they all cry. And then Manzini says he figures out the spell. And then Juice comes to the store, and he opens the locked door somehow. That Tangerine has the key. She puts the key in here, and we expect that will be some plot point where you have to retrieve that key.
It's not.
I was ready for that plot point.
I bet you were.
Juice just lets him out, and then I thought Juice just grabbed Greaser, but they grab all of them.
Yeah, everybody.
And
bringing them to the home.
We got the backstage at the fashion show. Tangerine's being terrible. They take all the things to the home for the ugly, and then they make a large bounty for that.
Yeah. So
bounty.
Okay.
So if you kidnap ugly people, you can then take them.
You get paid. People are paying other people to get ugly people off the street. That is the craziest thing in a movie ever. And we don't deal with it. There's no talking about how crazy that is. Like, it's just a fact of nature that, like, if you're ugly, watch your back, because people might try to kidnap you and throw you in prison for money.
Did you ever see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when you were a kid?
I probably saw it when I was a child.
There's like when they go to the one town at the end, there's like the child catcher, who's this big ugly guy with the giant nose who has a big net, and he puts the children in a cage. So horrifying. What does he
do with the kids then?
Well, because the king of the town wants to be basically the only child, so he wants he wants to help. I want to have all the toys or something like that. So he eliminates the competition.
I kind of like it.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It's pretty great. Okay.
Now, if this movie had some sort of plot or reason why they locked up ugly people, maybe I would like it more. But it's just random.
So now we're inside the prison, the home for the ugly, and we have all these cages, and on each cage we have a little plaque that says why they're there.
It gives you the reason of why they're too ugly to live.
Too old, too bald, too weird, too fat. The too fat is Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. I don't know if it's a real Santa Claus. I don't know if it's a shopping mall Santa Claus. They don't tell me what it is, but it's just one Santa Claus. So I have to imagine that's the real Santa Claus. Otherwise, they'd have a bunch of shopping mall Santa Clauses locked up. But just the one. It's a real Santa Claus. Someone was getting a gift and was like, man, this guy's too ugly to give me gifts. Kidnaps him, throws him in jail for money.
Too gross. That's where they put all the Garbage Pail Kids. Too pale. Too silly. That's where the clown is.
Too silly. Now that one I took offense to because that's not ugly. Like you could, I don't know. That seemed unfair.
Too weird. Too weird is not ugly. Weird is weird.
Yeah.
And then the guards are talking about what's going to happen to the Garbage Pail Kids, and the guy makes like the trash compactor.
Yep. They just smush them. They just smush them to death.
They're going to kill them. Dodger and the captain arrive at the home. Dodger realizes his betrayal.
Yeah, he's been used.
And the bad guys throw him in the trash can. So then he and the captain go to the home. Meanwhile, the fashion show is going on. The new concept in youth fashion. Trashy, flashy, and fun.
Which... I think that's just fashion. Like, that just describes a lot of fashion to me. I don't know. Not that I'm a fashionista. Look at what I'm wearing. But I feel like that's not that new.
So what is Dodger's big plan to save the Garbage Pail Kids?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yes, you remember.
I do?
He enlists the aid of someone or someone's.
A group
of people.
Oh, from the biker bars. He goes and gets his biker friends,
and his
best friends in the world. Now, so this is why I asked if he was there earlier, because all he does is run into the bar and says, they took the guys or something like that. The guys need our help, and then runs out, and these guys all follow him. But if he wasn't there the first time, how would they have any idea what he's talking about? Some strange child runs into your bar and is like, the guys need our help, and then runs away, and everyone knows what he means?
I don't think he was there.
I don't think he was there either, but I was hoping maybe he wasn't. I was confused. I don't know.
Someday we'll do the rewatch, and then we'll find that out. If we remember,
I'll do it tomorrow.
So the bikers go. Manzini sneaks in. He uses some magic. The bikers tear down the gate. Yeah. That's where they have the Peter Dinklage cameo. And then we learn that the other Garbage Pail Kids that were there, their friends, had been killed. You know what they should have done? They should have just had one of the Garbage Pail Kids there and then made like one more head that they didn't use in the rest of the movie.
What?
Right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It didn't need to have a whole group of them there that got murdered.
But they did, Dan. They want you to understand how bad being ugly truly is.
Yeah, they could have left out the baby one. The baby one really didn't add anything to the movie.
Doesn't do much of anything. Yeah. But it is the closest to a Cabbage Patch doll, right? I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So now
I don't think I had those either. So
we get my favorite scene of the movie, which is where one by one we see each and every Garbage Pail Kid lifted out of a window by the bikers. This is a scene. I usually don't call for scenes being cut, but we literally see we see Santa Claus and those people come. Then each and every one of them has to be lifted. Then Dodger comes out. I'm like, we do not need to see everyone. It's a pretty short movie.
We need to stretch the time out, but we need to keep stretching. Come on.
Not with this scene. This no.
Well, look, they spent all this money making them look good. Then, you got to take them out the window. Save them all.
This is when Dodger says, time to stop being losers.
I didn't know they were, because up until this moment, it seems like they were kind of winning until they got kidnapped.
Yes. So they go to the fashion show and raise hell.
Yeah, they fuck shit up. I mean, we got people running all over the place, scantily clad people running around because they're all like mid-change for some reason.
No, Tony, you weren't paying attention, I guess, at this point. the Garbage Pail Kids tear the clothing off of the girls.
Is that what they did? You're right. I wasn't paying attention.
Because they made the clothing, so they want the clothing back. So
they're like, this is ours. Oh God, you're right. I was not paying enough attention. Listen, this movie.
I mean, and you're just like, this is
That's incredible.
They're tearing the clothes off of girls and they're running around in their underwear. I'm like, this movie's incredible.
How can you mess up a movie that has that in it? You know what I mean? As a young boy, that should be my favorite movie of all time.
Should be your favorite. The farting one goes and farts on the whole audience, driving them off. And then finally the barfing one, Vicky Vomit, barfs on a couple of people. I'm like, finally some barfing.
Great. Nice payoff.
Dodger attacks Juice. Juice like throws him off. One of the Garbage Pail Kids gives him a boost. And what does he do? He teabags Juice.
Yeah, he sure does.
And then he's beating him, and then
just punching him right in the face.
Captain Manzini pulls him off, and he starts to cry. That was the truest reaction in the whole movie. It was so real.
Because you got that adrenaline going. You're just beating the shit out of someone, and then you like calm down for a second. You're like, what just happened? I am distraught.
It's the next night, or it's that later that night. Tangerine calls to him. She apologizes and she says, let's just be friends. And he's like, no, thanks. You're not pretty anymore.
Right. So here's my question, Dan.
She's still incredibly attractive.
Well, of course she is. But what is this movie trying to say about ugliness? I just don't understand. It's a theme of the movie. I know that for sure. I just don't know what they're trying to say. Because there's a moment where the magician guy, he's like, ugliness is not in the mirror. It's what's inside. Which is now they hit that again at the end where he's like, you're not pretty anymore. So I don't want to be friends with you, which we'll talk about in a second because that's weird. So like they're trying to say ugliness is on the inside, not the outside. However, the Garbage Pail Kids are ugly. Like they're super ugly and they're ugly inside and outside. There is no redeeming quality to them. So that is not part of the, like if they were charming but ugly, then I get it. So I don't understand the message.
They're ugly. Everything about them is ugly.
Everything about them is ugly.
She's a terrible person, but she's super hot. And you know what? She's going to go on to be incredibly successful.
She's going to be fine. She's going to be totally fine.
They should have like...
she's fine.
Greaser Greg should have cut her up. Should have cut her here.
Jesus, that's dark, man.
Now you're as
full dark.
Now you're as ugly as you are inside, is what Greaser Greg should have said.
Oh my God, that's.
Although
I like it. She'd probably
be really hot with a scar right there. Pretty hot.
You got problems. You got problems, Dan. No, but so he is like, I don't want to be friends with you because you're not pretty anymore. That doesn't make sense. She doesn't have to be pretty for you to be friends with her. You don't want to be friends with her because she didn't want to sleep with you, bro. So I don't like this kid in the end because he's like, oh, I'm bitter. You didn't like me, so now I don't like you.
He doesn't want to be friends with her because she's manipulative and she doesn't have any real feelings for him.
And then he should say that and not say you're not pretty anymore because that's a weird reason to not be friends with somebody.
You're not. He only wants to be friends with people that are pretty.
Right. That doesn't make him a good person. No. That makes him a Garbage Pail Kid.
So Manzini's figured it out. To put them back in the can, he has to just play their song backwards. He starts playing the song backwards on a piano, and it sounds backwards even though he's playing it on a piano. And then they just all leave. And Manzini,
what happens to him?
He falls in the can.
He gets sucked into the can. I don't believe he falls into it. I believe he somehow gets sucked into the can. It doesn't make any sense.
So they ride off on their quads, and
he's fine with it. This doesn't make any sense.
I guess they're running wild.
He has spent the whole movie trying to get them back into the garbage can, and at the end, he's just like, fuck it. It doesn't make any sense.
So they ran off to have new adventures, and everyone's happy.
Or get locked up and murdered in ugly jail, because that's what's going to happen very quickly.
Because there's probably more than one ugly jail.
There's got to be. I feel like they're probably everywhere.
And it's not like they stopped the ugly jail. They just got people out of the ugly jail.
Yeah, they just let some people out, which are definitely already back in there because it's a bounty. So people are looking for ugly people to lock up so they can make a little money because money's hard, Dan. Times are tough.
Oh, money's hard. Then we have the end credits song, which is "We're All Special."
It's kind of a banger, though. Like, I enjoyed it.
It was good.
I had a good time with it.
This movie's it's insane.
It's bizarre.
This is a movie you could put on at parties and then just watch 5 minutes of it and go like, this is insane.
We got to get way more high right now.
Yeah. So, thumbs up.
Yeah, Wild Times. Great choice. Really fun. Thanks for doing that with me, Dan.
Is this better than what was the one about the Mac and Me?
No, I don't think I do love, now that we're talking about it, there's one dance number in Mac and Me and there's one musical number in this one. That's a weird connection I never thought of.
Very similar kinds of movies that are just made with, only about commerce, and they just end up being so fucking weird. You're just like, what is
bizarro world?
The thinking, when you need to make these movies in 2 months, you just like, give me a script.
Let's go.
Give me the special effects, and have the weirdest people make the Super Mario Brothers movie, because who cares?
Yeah. Amen to that.
And those are the movies that are the best bad movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you got for us this week? Anything out there that you enjoyed?
Well, yeah, big time. I mean, you already mentioned it, but Beverly Hills Cop Axel F came out. I've watched it twice already.
Oh, really?
I love it.
It's good.
I absolutely love it. I am curious to know, because I haven't really looked it up. I'm curious to know how people feel that weren't in love with the originals. Sure. Beverly Hills Cop 1, one of my favorite movies of all time. Sure. I love it. This movie, a wonderful sequel to that. Like the spirit, the vibe, it feels like an 80s movie made in 2024, which I love. Like it's slower paced than a lot of things. Like the action and the comedy, it feels old school.
Oh, okay.
And I just love it. I smiled through the whole time, the first time I watched it. Like I could not stop smiling.
Well, I'll watch it, and because I don't have, for a person like me I've dealt with so much nostalgia in my existence. I no longer have a lot of nostalgia, so like
you just it's been taken out of you. You've used it all up.
I've come to terms with nostalgia, and I feel like I can judge things based on where I'm at. And
do that for me and let me know.
I definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, I loved it. I had a great time. How about you? What do you got?
We watched this crime documentary, The Perfect Wife. I think it was on Netflix.
Okay.
3 episodes, billed as the real life Gone Girl.
Was it? Like what? Okay. Yeah, maybe I should watch it. That's scary though.
It's crazy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty much like, wow.
Wow.
This woman gets kidnapped.
And she fakes it? Oh, man. Okay, I'll have to watch. 3 episodes?
3 episodes.
Are they each an hour?
Each about a little under an hour, I think.
Okay, yeah, we can knock that
52
out.
minutes.
Right.
Watch the first one. If you like the first one, keep going. If you don't like the first one, then stop. Because it's,
Because it's more the same.
It's pretty much, you see where it's going.
All right. Interesting.
So, pretty good.
Okay.
So, Tony, episode 201. Well, you got to give us something. This is starting our third 100 movies.
Yeah, exactly. The third 100 starting now. This was a tough choice.
Culminate number 300, which I will also get to pick.
That can't. Well, now it will be right because now we somehow switched. I don't know when it happened, but we switced odds and evens, which is probably good. It's your show.
I tricked you, Tony. It was my plan the whole time to get those 100 anniversary episodes.
Gotta get the big ones. My. So this was a tough choice for me because this movie that we just watched, Garbage Pail Kids, was nominated for several Razzies the year that it came out. and Aston was, the Garbage Pail Kids were nominated for worst newcomer or something like that.
Okay.
And it lost to a movie that I really want to do, but we're going to save that for my next choice because it turns out, if I'm doing my math correctly, a movie's about to come out and we need to do something related to it. So what doing...
That's an explanation.
So what we are doing is, of course, X-Men Origins Wolverine, so that we can get ready for Deadpool and Wolverine, which comes out, I believe, the week that this episode will drop, if I did it correctly.
So is this the Deadpool one?
Yeah, Deadpool is in it. It is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. It's their first movie together, and it's wonderful. I love it. Yeah.
Wait, you love this movie or you hate this movie?
This
is the one where his mouth is stitched up, right? That's this one. Okay.
That's it. Okay. That's the one.
It's not a good movie.
No, I didn't say it was a good movie. I said I enjoy the movie, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next week. I have fond memories of this movie.
I remember seeing it and being, I think I was like, I'm not going to the movie theaters for this.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I saw it afterwards, and I was just like, the big battle at the end is just like
nonsense,
so very terrible.
Yeah,
you're like, whoa.
Yeah, a bunch of gobbledygook. Yeah, no. So that's what we're doing to get ready for Deadpool and Wolverine that comes out July 26th.
Oh, it comes out this month. Oh wow, that's going to be a big movie.
Let's hope. Movies are weird right now.
Whatchamacallit did great. The
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys did great.
Bad Boys did great, but not everything's done great.
Well, I told you, Fall Guy didn't do great because it's not good.
But it's not bad.
But it's not good.
But it's not bad. Mediocre movies used to make a lot of money.
Used to, yeah. I don't think you can make a lot of money with a movie that's not really, like. I don't know. We didn't see Oppenheimer, but Barbie is an incredibly good movie.
Yes.
So you're like,
yes.
I've rewatched that. I look at movies that I rewatch.
Sure.
And it's like I'll never go back to Fall Guy. Never in a million years. I mean, I didn't finish it either. You might, but you
didn't finish it. You don't even know what the twist is.
What was the twist?
I'm not going to say it if people haven't seen it. It's still too new.
Whatever.
When did you stop it?
I don't know.
All right. Well, what are you going to
do? The guy's not dead. He went to his apartment. And he was set it all up or something.
Sure.
Is that the twist?
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Something like that.
That's a terrible twist. It was stupid. I was like,
you're a terrible twist.
I don't care. I'm like you. Like, what was that good movie we saw? The one with Sandra Bullock and what's his name?
The Lost City. I actually just rewatched that last week. And The Lost City. I watched that at work.
And that's a movie you'll rewatch every year for the rest of your life because it's a fucking good.
I don't know about every year, but I'll rewatch it for sure. It's fun.
It's very fun romp. The twists are good. The characters are good.
Daniel Radcliffe in that movie
he's the bad guy.
Fun.
He's great.
He's so fun.
I mean, and you look at Fall Guy, you're like, this is not that movie.
No, it's not.
And I expect if I'm going to watch a movie again, it's going to have to be that level, that level of fun.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. I've rewatched Dungeons and Dragons probably 12 times, 15 times, a bunch.
Dungeons and Dragons is going to go down as a very questionable failure, and it's going to go down as a movie that people love forever. Because everybody, see, that's the thing about Dungeons and Dragons. Everybody in that movie is going to get work for the rest of their lives based on that movie.
Sure.
They're going to be like, that's not ever going to count as a knock on any of the people in that movie.
Oh, totally.
Or anybody affiliated with that movie.
Yeah.
People just won't ever understand why that movie was a failure.
I still don't.
No.
I love it so much.
It's a good movie.
It's delightful. Anyhow.
So we'll be back talking about X-Men Origins, Wolverines.
Yep. That's it.
And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, even subscribe. Those are things you can do to help us.
And leave a rating on your podcast wherever you get the podcast. If you're listening to a podcast, that was bad.
I think people,
I should work on.
I think some people do. Can you ever figure out how many people listen to a podcast?
Yeah, I know exactly how many people listen to each episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to tell me that. So
You can probably guess, Dan.
we'll be back next week doing those things.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, watch him!